Hey Nappers, it's me, Wild Neptune, and in this Epic 7 video, gonna go over the recently posted balance, notes, and all the units and artifacts and maybe other things too that are gonna be buffed. Be very excited. I have not seen this yet, so gonna look at it together. Before that though, I would appreciate it if you liked, comment, and subscribe, and considering catching me at Twitch at twitch.tv/WildNeptune. Let's go. Here they are. So, going down. I am expecting Judge Kise. They usually do an RGB 5-star. So, I think Melissa is the one that I have predicted. I don't think they do a water or grass one. I do think a fire one is the one they would choose, and Melissa seems to be the most likely one. It could be Araminta, but I highly doubt that. As for an RGB 4-star, I don't know. Like, do they even care about RGB 4-stars anymore? Okay, well, with that being said, let's go. Let's see what it is. Okay, ADS, and so 2 of them. Okay, and okay, yeah, there's Melissa, Lorina. So yeah, Commander Lorina, Wanda, and okay. So they say 7 heroes, but it's let's be real here. It's 5 heroes, okay, and 2 artifacts. Wind Rider, yeah, that needs a little bit of boost. And the limited artifact, okay. I have this at plus 30, so very exciting to see what these are going to be. Alright, the first hero on the list is Archdemon Shadow, and right now her problems are that she is too inconsistent of a hero, so anything that's going to boost her consistency is going to help her out. And, well, right here, you see the S1 now. It's going to have a Ignore ER on the Soulburn. This is very good because nothing was worse than being resisted when you Soulburned her. This is actually something that everybody said should have been on her kit since the start, even when she was a good unit to pick. Everybody said this should be a thing. So, glad this was added. S2 here, it now has a 40% chance to activate Burst after using the S1, which is, you might think it's only 5%, but remember that when the target is sealed, and sealing the target should be easier now, it's increasing 80% because it's doubled. So that's a pretty nice little bonus there. And the S3, what does it do here now? It has a 70% chance to decrease defense with 2 turns on AoE. And this is in addition to the burns, and you still get the extra turn, so that is very strong. Defense break with an extra turn on a unit that's going to do some decent damage probably is a very nice thing. Remember though that this is a focus ability, so you can't use it at the start of the battle. It is something that you can, proc a seal, proc a counter, proc an S2, and then you can use the S3. So it's not going to be something you can open up with. So, do I think this helps her? Yes, it does. Just the S1 change, I think, means that you can take it a little bit more comfortably into some matchups where she's going to counter things. And with the amount of units now and players that are not running immunity, this could be a decent tech option to have, right? So, who knows? There are, however, keep in mind, there are a lot of cleansers and stuff that are currently in the meta. So it is going to be kind of a similar use case as before, but you won't feel bad picking her most of the time. Okay, Judge Kise. Very excited about this one. I have a plus 15. Actually, I have ADS, so plus 14, I think, and Melissa plus 13, so very excited about all of these, but let's see if I can make use of this changes here. So, End of Evil is the S2, And the Dispel and the extra turns being removed for decreased hit chance for 1 turn, so Blind on an AoE. We've seen how good it can be on Arbiter Vildred in the past, and now is on Judge Kise too. Wave of Light is the S3, and now it has a 75% chance to dispel a buff. Okay. That's pretty good. And increase skill cooldown 3 times by 1 turn. These are at max, right? Let me make sure here. The probability. Okay, yes. A number of turns. So okay, yeah. So it is based on max max numbers. Wait a minute. It says 80 here. I'm sure they'll explain it down below here. But Grand Skill Nullifier. Okay, so that means just die to counterattacks and damage dealt because of enemies. Okay, and just increased damage overall. Very good. So it means that you don't have the soul burn to get the skill cooldown proc. But let's see what it says down below. Oh, by the way, Judge Kise hasn't been used in the meta because, well, it's just too hard to guarantee you have the soul burn. That's really all there is to it. Also, counterattacks just demolish her. So just this change here kind of takes care of both of those. But yeah, many players have been using Judge Kise by using her skills, Son of Evil and Wave of Light, yeah, with soul burn. However, she was not defending with soul burn is not available, yes. So Wave of Light will increase damage, activating different skill effects. The actual damage dealt will be slightly increased, and the effect chance of the skill, Wave of Life, to be triggered will also be slightly increased. Okay, so I'm going to assume that this 75 here is a typo, and it is going to be 80% at max. What does this do for her? Now, I don't know if you use her in Cleave now, still. I think she could be good in Cleave, but there are just very strong AoEs now that are in the game. Very strong, like, single target skills that are in the game. And I'll be honest, they're like, it's interesting. It really depends on how much damage she's going to do, or how consistently you think you can make use of this skill cooldown reduction. Because, remember, you still have to bypass the 15% on top of this 20% too, even against teams that have no ER. What this is good against, though, is somebody like Mediated Calric, because Mediated Calric runs no ER. In fact, he's one of the only low ER cleansers that are in the game. So something like this directly affects him and his skill kit right now, which is interesting. Like a little while ago, like a couple of seasons ago, I tested out a faster Judge Kise on effectiveness just for the debuff of the reduction, and there are a lot of times where you just kind of fizzle on something, like you don't get a strip, or like one unit doesn't get their skills reduced, and that kind of sucks too when that happens. Like, it wasn't that great back then, mainly because you always had to draft a book holder with her in all cases, and this time, now you don't, and that's, you know, that could change things. However, I do want to point out that it has been proven now that teams can win on the backs of, like, using S1s for a whole turn. Against AOL, a common and proven good strategy is to just have units that just want to S1 a lot, and you kind of overpower those teams. And maybe Judge Kise will fall into a similar, I don't want to say rut as AOL, because AOL is a very strong unit, obviously, but into a similar set of units being picked to counter her if she's going to be used in that way. I do think this does make her a very flexible hero that would be able to be used in a bunch of situations. So, good on them. Hey, Melissa. Right now, Melissa is not being used because she doesn't really do enough. When she's fast enough to get her turn off, she often doesn't do enough damage. And when she does enough damage, she often, doesn't go because, she dies. So let's see what they change. Manifestation. This is her S2. And looks like she's getting immunity added to it. Which is fine. I don't know how much this changes anything. I guess it gives you a little bit of extra protection against debuffs or single buff dispels. Okay. Blood Bloom. This is their S3. So, the curse is now going to hit regardless of whether or not the attack hits. So the whole skill now ignores evasion. That means Violet, nope. Remnant Violet, nope. It still doesn't dispel undispellable buffs, but this is pretty nice because a lot of the times what would happen is you would just have the dispel resisted, and then you would also miss on Remnant Violet and not get anything. So now, you can have the dispel resisted, which still sucks, but you still might get the curse, which is pretty good. Now, did it add to her survivability, which has been her issue. So things like her getting stripped off, her mentality, things like her getting outsped and just burst down, those are all still things that are real issues for her that were kind of holding her back before, and I still think they hold her back right now. However, just the fact that she ignores evasion, I think might make her a decent tech option against Green Violet and Remnant Violet. You have to be aware though that right now Remnant Violets are being built fast, speedy, like burst damage dealers. So I do think that the average Melissa, that their speeds are going to start revving up a bit if they want to counter those faster Remnant Violets. And again, that does, because her damage is not being increased at all, it does mean that her damage is going to be lower than the current builds, if there are current builds of her. I don't actually know. But keep in mind too that Violet can just S2 off the curse, so you will have to take advantage of the curse for like one round basically. But not bad changes here. Again, I do think that she is still going to be kind of a niche unit in terms of use cases, but strong in that niche. Okay, Commander Lorina. Sharp Blow. This is the S1. It's getting a damage dealt, increased potential to target's maxed out. So it's gaining a Daydream Joker type effect. Okay, pretty nice there on the S1. Guard Rune. Increases defense by additional 1%. So now it's gonna be 5% instead. Spiritual Armament is her passive, is her S2. And I believe this stacks, right? So that's pretty nice for survivability. Hardship Rune. So increases the rate of combat reduction of spell breakthrough. That's the S3, which pushes back from 5 to 15. And Glory Rune. Okay, so the 15% is being moved from the Glory Rune to the Hardship Rune, and now it's being changed to increase damage on against elite or boss monsters by 20%. Okay, so decent all-around changes for her for PvE. So not going to change that much, right? But for players who do have her built up, they're going to see a little bit of a boost in your damage. Okay, Wanda. Weak Point. This is her S1. So, the decrease combat readiness by 15%. Okay, so it used to be where the enemy had to be targeted before this decreased CR happened, and now it just happens baseline, which is a nice change. One shot, one kill. This is your S3, and now it has a 100% chance to stun and decrease speed for 2 turns. So instead of stun and unhealable, now it's stun and decrease speed, which is a good change. It means that they'll be stunned and take longer to be not stunned. However, honestly, an enemy that's stunned for 2 turns, that's still a long time. Achievement rune, increase your chance of a weak point by 70%. 70% basically means that you always hit Violet, basically. Not always. I believe that you still have a 5% chance to miss on him, but almost always. Speed rune now has a 100%. Okay, so built-in guiding light for the first turn on Wanda, which is pretty good. And when using Vildred, when using one shot, one kill, has a 100% chance to decrease buff duration of the target by 1 turn before the effect. Okay, so basically what this means is that, let's say an enemy is immune, right? Has immunity on because of the immunity set. Well, now you just dispel this with the skill, and then you stun them for 2 turns, and decrease their speed for 2 turns too. That's pretty good, honestly. That's actually kind of scary, to be honest. It's a... Yes, you're only controlling 1 unit, but you're doing so for a long time. Now, how good this is going to be? It really depends. You do have to ban out, like, Amelia, right? Any real cleanser that is on the enemy team is basically a huge detriment to Wanda. And that's the problem right now, is that, well, one is that just a lot of the times she just can't finish the job. She needs support to take care of the things that she supposedly was supposed to counter, which were evasion units. But now it's more that things are just gonna cleanse some of the stuff off. So if you draft her like as a last pick sometimes, and the enemy team doesn't have a way to well, take care of her stun and everything like that, she might be a decent pick there. Now keep in mind that some teams, like tankier teams, might not really care, depending on how the drafts are, but 2-turn stun is very strong, and especially one that can be used right away with, you know, almost no way to stop it except through ERs. Wind Rider first is a thief artifact. Keep in mind that these are going to be at max level, so if you want the base level, it says half of the values here, and plus 15, which is 1 artifact, is in the middle. So originally you had to kill an enemy here, and you got an attack boost by 60% for a turn at the start of the next turn. The changes are going to be, so you get 20% of that attack right away to help you kill things to actually proc the effect, and then you get the 40% when you proc the effect. So still the same 60, only 20 of it you get right away. Good change. Very dope for a nightmare. So what this does, when you attack, it's a mage artifact, and when you attack outside of your turn, you deal 1500 fixed damage to the target. It's being changed to after an extra attack, counter attack, or dual attack, has a 60% chance to dispel one buff from the target. So Violin is 80% by the way, so it is a worse Violin, but you still have the fixed damage thing. Do I think 1500 damage is worth giving up 20% on Violin? I guess it depends on the team I'm fighting. If the team is like really squishy, then yes, I do think it is. If I'm really dependent on the dispels though, or let's say I really want the dispels, then probably not. It's a hard call. The thing is, it's also only an extra and counter attack still, and dual attacks, right? How many mages have extra attacks on their turn? ADS, right, comes to mind. It's actually might be kind of good on her, actually, because she procs her S2, and she just does 1500 damage when she procs it. That seems not that bad, actually. So who knows? Like, I still think on a lot of mages, you will still want, oh, also Dizzy, maybe? Because a lot of the time, you just do a lot of damage, and counter Dizzy could be a thing. It's hard to say because AoE is just so punished right now. That's the video. Hope you enjoyed it. Hope you're excited for the upcoming changes to Epic 7. Anyway, I'm Al Neptune. It's been a good one. Nip out.